Hello, friends and supporters of the Art Base. My name is Lissa Ballinger. I'm the curator at the Art Base, and I'm here with Heather Cherry for our first exhibition in our new space, 174 Midland Avenue. This is a tremendously exciting day for the Art Base, not only because we have Boulder-based artist Heather Cherry with us today, but because this is a new beginning for the Art Base, for our new home. So we hope that you will join us. Heather's exhibition, which is called A Light Within, will be on exhibit from May 28th through June 26th. And we have new hours. I want to make sure that everybody hears our new hours. Tuesday through Thursday, we're open 11 to 5, and then we are open Fridays and Saturdays from now on from 11 to 7 p.m. So we hope you will come and join us at some point. We are having an in-person opening, another huge, exciting success. We're having that on Friday, May 28th from 5 to 7 p.m. So we hope you will join us. And I'm now gonna hand it over to Heather. She's gonna read us a portion of her artist statement, and then we're gonna finish our session with the final portion of her artist statement. So welcome, Heather. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lissa, and thank you to the Art Base. I'm so honored to be here, and it's just been a wonderful experience so far, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. So the title of the show is called A Light Within. Dawn on an open plain, the way sunlight spills across a forest floor, wayfinding and the sanctuary of our heart's inner landscape. Stillness, seed pods, wonder, wingspan. What is it that wakes us each day and sends us out into the world? What sustains us? How do we gather light?
That's a perfect place to start. And I'm just hoping that you'll tell the viewers what they're going to experience when they come to this really special exhibition.
Okay. Well, so I have this artist statement at the very beginning as you walk in. And so as you walk into the space, there are three different types of work. There are a series of graphite drawings that alternate between singular objects and fields of mark making, and sculptural fiber pieces and woven fiber pieces. And within the sculptural fiber pieces are three fields that are made entirely of thread. So that's kind of the
So, and those pieces these are all these pieces on the pedestal. And if you could just describe what people are seeing behind me specifically. What does it look like? What is it supposed to evoke? How did it come to you? The whole experience of that piece.
Okay, so I grew up in Iowa, and your experience of space is really expansive. I remember walking through fields and the sense that the horizon would go on forever. And there's also, it's a landscape of subtleties. So I feel like early on, I was always looking closely. So this is a close-up view of the forest floor. And I have another that is a close-up view of a square of moss and then a prairie. But all of the pieces are made entirely of thread, and even the pine needles are fused thread with a piece of Gompy paper at the top and then pigment. So the idea is to invite you to look closely and invite you into a moment of stillness, of quiet, a contemplative moment.
I feel like it's also a moment to really pay attention to a small square block of earth or whatever it is, to really delve into that one experience of that small piece of land.
Absolutely. You know, and I was thinking about what grounds us, or what grounds me. And obviously, earth is very much a part of that. The other pieces speak to that sort of grounding influence as well, in a different way. sort of more contemplative. It's the groundedness in the other pieces are more about sort of the ritual of making. Some of the pieces are made of hand-spun thread. I started working in paper for quite some time ago, and started creating these strands of thread by just cutting long strips and spinning it by hand. So you have hand-spun thread, and I started to create piles of this hand-spun thread, and then eventually the hand-spun thread turned into the weavings that you see behind you.
And the hand-spun thread, is that just random books or newspaper, or are you very particular about what you choose?
So usually I use a paper called Gompi. 3 of them are made of Gompi. This one is actually made entirely of dictionary pages.
Okay.
So spun from pages of Webster's dictionary.
And tell, because viewers can't see that, tell us what we're looking at.
Oh, so this is actually, so there are strands of hand-spun dictionary pages, and if you look up close, they feel like a pile of twigs. So I was really speaking about knowledge and language and sort of the academic knowing and more intuitive knowing, and how those speak to one another. Almost could be nest-like also. There's an element of nestness to it. Yeah. And I just want to go back to these pieces really quickly, because I'm so curious about the process that you go through. So you see something that you know that you want to create to be either a forest floor or a moss. How do you then figure out how to do it from there? I mean, what is your process? Or do you create something and you're like, wow, this is a forest floor? Do you understand the difference? So I'm definitely driven by materials. I work a lot with materials just in terms of what something might be. I guess I'm often led intuitively, and I don't really, I don't set out and say, okay, I definitely want to create a square of, this particular landscape. So I would say it sort of reveals itself as I go, but there are definite things that I always tend to go back to, which is, definitely the natural world and these moments of quiet, moments of stillness.
Let's talk about how you actually came to art. How did that come into your life?
So I feel like I was making from the time I was born. Whether
she emerges from the womb making art. Well, I believe it.
Yes. I guess maybe not in a formal sense, but I was constantly gathering and assembling and building and stacking and layering. That is really how I make sense of my world. It was back then, and it still is. It's how I find my way.
So then did you go to art school? Let's talk about that. So progression.
Yes, then eventually I went to school for studio art, and then I got a master's, and I got a master's in art education, and so I was doing education courses and studio courses at the same time, and my work has just developed from there. Fiber has definitely been a part of my work for quite some time. Paper especially. I started out doing installations, and then I created a series of paper dresses. Ooh. And then I ended up, it was always sort of this reference to context and environment, and then I started maybe creating the environment itself on some level, I don't know.
I wanted to speak a little bit more about the title of your exhibition. So my experience just going through the exhibition, I'm still so excited about this exhibition and in this new space, but it's a very quiet exhibition, it's very contemplative, it's very intimate.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think that ties into the title of your work and to all of the work itself. And so I just wanted to see if you could talk about that, how it feels to have the work on display. Does it feel really, do you feel exposed? Do you feel like this is something you're so excited to share?
It's a really amazing thing to see everything in the space, because I'm used to working in a pretty small studio. And so to have it all kind of laid out in this exquisite space it's a beautiful thing to experience for me. So it's, there's definitely, there's a vulnerability because you're putting your heart out there.
Yeah.
So.
And how did you come up with the title, A Light Within? What does that refer to?
So I was talking earlier about, the expanse of space, growing up in open spaces. And I think about that as tied into the title. I also think about these moments of noticing, these sort of everyday luminosities in a sense. So it was the natural world and the sense of space, and also just the experience of light itself. I remember standing at my kitchen table once upon a time, and the light in the morning would come through the bay window, and it would catch on these little pieces of dust. And I remember trying to gather that light. And so, in a sense, I'm still trying to do these things.
That's beautiful. Talk to us a little bit about the works on paper.
Okay, so these are all graphite drawings, and I really wanted to alternate between a singular object and a field of mark making, because I wanted a sense of the closer look and then kind of stepping away. Mm-hmm. So these are all graphite powder, and they're actually created by erasing out the graphite powder. So it's pulling the powder away from the page to perhaps, bring the light.
And do you title each of these works, or are they?
Yes. So this one is Moon, this one is Maine. They all have pretty simple titles.
Right. Some people title works, some people don't. I'm always interested in that decision.
Yeah.
And how did you end up? I know that we approached you. We found you, and Heather's known about this exhibition for almost a year. Little did she know that she's actually made a proposal for an exhibition in our other space, 99 Midland Spur, and everything has changed in that time. I threw her a huge curveball and told her that she was going to be in this new space, and she handled the whole situation with so much grace. But how did that change? I know that it was a lot to put on you, but did that change the way that you thought about the exhibition? How was that experience for you, other than nerve-wracking, which I know was true?
It was wonderful. It was, when I had a sense of the space, it was a bigger space.
Yep.
And so I wanted to really think about the sequence of walking through the show itself and what that experience would be. So it was fantastic. I mean, it opened up, more possibilities.
One of the things I loved about working with Heather is that she was always thinking about the way that you would experience the exhibition, how you would enter the exhibition, the time that you would take, reading her artist statement in the beginning, pausing, reflecting, and then continuing your journey through the exhibition. And sometimes artists don't always consider that experience. I think that probably is helped by your experience in art education, that you're always thinking about the way someone is experiencing art.
The way that you...
Yeah. And what you can be interactive with, what you can't be. And one of the things about this exhibition is it is you want to engage with it. You want to feel these fibers, which unfortunately you cannot unless you purchase it, and then you're very much welcome to. But they do seem very tactile. They're just such fascinating materials, which is so exciting to walk into an exhibition and not know and be curious. And I think that's part of your intent, is that you want the viewer to be curious and to explore and take time to actually see what it is. I think that's, from what I understood from working with you, that really is something that you're interested in, to have the viewer pause and reflect.
Absolutely. I really would hope that people would just be present, really stop and notice and listen and see what might resonate.
I have a sort of off-the-wall question is, what is your favorite tool when you make art? What is maybe it's your hands, maybe it's your senses, maybe it's a particular, I'm not sure, some sort of spindle tool or something.
Well, since I've been spinning the thread, that's definitely, using my hands has been a part of the making, throughout all of this. I would say paper and I would say thread because I'm really drawn to these fibers. I would say my heart,
Yeah. And one thing that I love that we do at the Art Base is we really try to fuse our art exhibition programming with our education programming. And I would love you to speak about, Heather has contributed and she has created an art kit for us to be able to give away. And I'd love you to speak about that art kit.
Sure. So it's called an idea garden, and it has 3 different pieces. The first is based on what an idea might look like. What is an idea? In the first part of my exhibition, I created these paper clay seeds, and that comes to mind for me when I think of an idea, but this idea could be any form. So there's a ball of clay that you can create, whatever form that might be. There are wildflower seeds that you can plant, so you're planting this idea garden. And then there are accordion books, so you can document, you can kind of map the growth of that idea, or you can map like what happens with the flowers, or
I love that.
Whatever direction you want to take it in. So the idea is that you're mapping the growth of an idea and where it travels or where it might go.
And you actually have a book in this exhibition as well. Maybe you can tell us about that.
I do. So that there's a piece called Origins of Language, and my mother actually saved every drawing that I did from the time I was born. And so I have these very early marks, and I was really interested in exploring those marks. She actually gave all of this collection of drawings back to me later on in life, and it was like receiving my language. It was a really beautiful thing and so inspiring to me. And so I've taken fragments of those early marks and transfer them onto a book, and then dip the book in beeswax. So that one is called Origins of Language. So language definitely seems to be a theme.
Absolutely.
Definitely
and the natural world
thread.
and your relationship with the natural world.
Yes.
Well, Heather is going to be with us at the Art Base tomorrow for our opening from 5 to 7. That's Friday, May 28th. So come meet her. And we're going to end this talk with Heather reading the final paragraph from her artist statement. And thank you so much, Heather,
Thank you so much
for having patience with us through this tremendous time in the history of the Art Base. So.
No, thank you, Lissa. Thank you to everyone at the Art Base. I mean, this is an extraordinary experience. So thank you. My hope is to create a visual path composed of a series in which each element and the space amidst is carefully considered. A story, a poem, an inner topography. living the questions through process like the spinning of thread and weaving of words, inviting you along to share in these moments of quiet. Stillness, seed pods, wonder, wingspan, that which is rooted and rising in each of us, a light within.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.